Hey, so I am back with another video. This is about half an hour long. If you saw that little number down in the to the right, it shows you how long this video is. I found another article. I have some opinions. I didn't think I had that many opinions. Before I got into this, I would read the articles and I'd be like, eh. But now I'm reading some of these articles and I'm like, what the heck are these people talking about? They be gaslighting you. So, anyways, I'm reading another article. This time from Makers Row. They are an intermediary. They connect garment industry professionals. The name of the title of the article is Apparel Garment Industry USA 2025, Stats, Top Trends, and Frequently Asked Questions by Suruti S-H-R-U-T-I Ghoshi, Ghoshi, May 6, 2025. It's a 13-minute read, so I should have plenty of time. It has 5 chapters, so it's a big one. So anyways, I'm going to read this. This is my second time recording this, so I'm going to try to not interject because I ran out of time the last time. 13 minutes and I still ran out of time. I spent 15 minutes running my face. So, here we go. Apparel garment industry growth in the U.S. sparks many questions in 2025. How big is it? What's driving demand? Is the Made in America tag drawing a resurgence? If you are launching a clothing line or trying to scale an existing brand, these answers matter. The garment industry in the U.S. has reached $395 billion in value and continues to grow. Behind these numbers, a more fundamental structural shift is taking place towards sustainability, digital translation, and localized production. You may have noticed I have a small stutter. Buyers want more than style. They want transparency, ethical sourcing, and quick delivery. Hence, production in the U.S. is on the rise. Imagine calling the new fashion startup in Chicago that has designed an ethical streetwear line. Instead of shipment of production offshore, the founder associates with a local manufacturer via Makers Row. More fashion startups have started using Makers Row and similar platforms to connect with manufacturers directly and thus cut down on the cost and lead time. Whether you are a designer or an investor, this blog will help you understand what is setting the trend in the U.S. fashion in 2025. This blog will help you understand what is setting the trend in the U.S. fashion in 2025. Okay, that wasn't my fault. U.S. apparel garment industry key statistics in 2025. Apparel garment industry leaders were rethinking strategies in 2025. Take, for example, a California-based yoga wear brand being forced by shipping delays and rising costs. They could no longer allow imports. So the company had to opt for using local manufacturers instead. Through Makers Row, they launched an eco-friendly line with better margins and faster delivery. This is just one example of how the garments industry in the U.S. is evolving, giving its current market size of over $395 billion with steady annual growth. It does present a formidable factor in the American economy. More importantly, however, it is evolving rapidly. That's a fragment. That's how it reads. Leaving views aside, 2025 brings new technology and buying habits with AR, augmented reality, based online shopping and on-demand clothing production, which are hard to remain ignored by any brand. In fact, selling sustainable clothing should not be considered a trend. It is the minimum, and reshoring production plants is much needed in bringing agility and competitive spirit to U.S. brands. Here's a snapshot of how garments industry looks this year. This is a hard read. I was talking about all that in my first read through. It's written hard. It has a lot of fragments, run-ons. Not taking a shot at the person who wrote this or the copyright or whatever. It's just anyway. The snapshot reads: there's 2 columns and 6 rows. The metric and data 2025. So the metric is total market size 395 billion. Growth rate 4.6% annually. Employment 582,000 plus workers. Online apparel sales 38% total sales. Top segment casual wear at 36%. Sustainable apparel growth 11.3% annually. Sources: Statistica, IBS, World, McKinsey & Company. The apparel garment industry remains a major contributor to the U.S. economy. Even post-pandemic, it continues to grow through innovation and tech adoption. Major trends in the apparel garment industry in 2025. The apparel garment industry in 2025 is no longer what it was even 5 years ago. Changing consumer habits, new technology, and global pressures have reshaped how clothing is designed, produced, and sold. Below are the 4 biggest trends impacting the garments industry this year. 1. Sustainable fashion. Sustainability is considered a non-negotiable in 2025. Excuse me. Sustainability is considered a non-negotiable, period. In 2025, the whole ecosystem of consumers and retailers would call for it. Today's buyer is interested to know: how was their stitch made, on what material, and how much waste was shed in the process. As a result, many brands now choose organic cotton, recycled polyester, plant-based dyes. Clothing lines are using zero waste cutting techniques and limiting water use in production. Large companies like Levi's and Patagonia lead the environment, but even U.S. small-based startups are following suit. Number 2, on-demand manufacturing. The traditional system offers excess inventory that either gets destroyed or marked down to discourage further wastage. On the other hand, on-demand manufacturing intends to produce just enough inventory and exactly when needed. This trend is growing fast in 2025 thanks to advancements in AI, automated machinery, and digital inventory tools. Instead of forecasting months in advance, brands now collect real-time data to predict demands more accurately. Number 3, rise of digital fashion. Technology has been transforming how the world shops for clothing. Consumers have come to expect more than just a basic photo and product description. They want immersive and personal experiences. In 2025, augmented reality, AR, virtual fitting rooms, and 3D product models are becoming standard. Retailers are using tools like Z-Kit, DressX, and TrueFit to help shoppers try on clothes virtually from their homes. Google has one. I don't know if this is one of them, but I know because I saved it. A recent McKinsey report showed that retailers are using AR experiences saw a 25% increase in conversion rates. That's a big win for e-commerce brands in the apparel industry. Digital fashion tools also help brands create and sample garments without physical materials. A designer in Los Angeles can now use 3D CAD software to build an entire collection and preview fabric flow before a single thread is cut. Digital fashion reduces costs, shortens development cycles, and creates better consumer experience. 4. Reshoring production. In the past, many U.S. brands relied on overseas manufacturers to lower costs, but the pandemic, shipping delays, and quality issues changed that mindset. And now reshoring, bringing manufacturing back to the USA, is gaining momentum. The American manufacturers offer several benefits: faster lead times, better communication, higher quality, and more ethical labor standards. While costs are often higher, many brands are finding out that the long-term value outweighs the price difference. Reshoring also allows brands to respond quickly to market demand, run smaller batches, and reduce carbon footprints. These factors make it one of the most significant shifts in the 2025 garment industry. Top garment industry sectors in 2025. The garment industry covers many subsectors. Below is a breakdown. Again, 2 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 rows. Sector casual wear is 36% of the market. Sector sportswear is 21% of the market. Sector formal wear, is 14% of the market. Sector intimate wear is 10% of the market. Sector workwear and uniforms are 9% of the market. And sector other, kids, maternity, etc. are 10% of the market. Casual and sportswear lead the apparel garment industry. Comfort and performance are the top drivers of demand. U.S. versus global apparel garment industry. The apparel garment industry in the U.S. operates differently from global players in many ways. While the global market continues to grow, the U.S. is seeing unique shifts driven by innovation, consumer demand, and reshoring. Let's break down the comparison between U.S. apparel garment industry and its global counterparts. Number 1, the market size and revenue. In 2025, the global apparel garment industry is valued at over $1.8 trillion. The U.S. apparel garment industry alone accounts for $395 billion, making it one of the largest single country markets. Though the U.S. is just a slice of the global market, it holds strong purchasing power. American consumers spend more per capita on clothing than many other countries. Number 2, manufacturing labor. The majority of the world's production occurs in Asia, particularly in China, Bangladesh, India, and Vietnam. These countries rely on low-cost labor and large-scale factories to produce goods cheaply. In contrast, the U.S. garments industry is focused on quality, ethics, and speed. Though more expensive, U.S.-based manufacturing is gaining ground because it allows better quality control, shorter lead times, smaller batch productions, transparent labor practices. For example, a sportswear brand in California uses local factories to avoid overseas delays and manage production in real time. Number 3, technology and innovation. The U.S. leads in fashion tech. American brands are early adopters of AI and demand forecasting, AR for virtual try-ons, 3D tools for prototyping, sustainable material innovation. Meanwhile, many global manufacturers still rely on manual labor and outdated equipment. However, some countries like China and South Korea are catching up by investing in smart manufacturing. The apparel garment industry in the U.S. is known for blending tech with design, giving it an edge in quality and consumer experiences. Sustainability practices. 4, 10% of carbon emissions worldwide are attributable to the apparel industry. Many international factories still use harmful chemicals, excessive water, and underpaid labor. The U.S. is pushing for green product production with recycled textiles, energy-efficient factories, locally sourced materials, compliance with environmental laws. Sustainable practices are becoming a selling point for American brands in 2025. A growing number of small fashion companies promote their eco-friendly values and use Made in America as a trust signal. 5, supply chain resilience. Global supply chains are vulnerable to delays, increased freight costs, political instability, and the COVID-19 pandemic revealed. Since then, many U.S. brands have chosen domestic suppliers and nearshoring partners in Mexico and Central America. This shift has strengthened the U.S. apparel garment industry, making it more resilient and flexible. By contrast, brands relying on international production often face shipping delays, tariff hikes, complex logistics. The global garment industry remains cost-driven, but the U.S. model is moving toward agility, speed, and consumer satisfaction. Quick comparison table. 3 columns, 7 or 8 rows. So the feature, market size, 2025, U.S. garment apparel industry, $395 billion. Global garments industry, $1.8 trillion. Feature, main focused, U.S. apparel garment industry, quality, ethics, tech. global garments industry, cost, volume, export. Feature, manufacturing locations, U.S. garment industry, U.S., Mexico, Central America. Global garments industry, China, India, Vietnam, Bangladesh. Feature, labor cost, U.S. garment industry, high. Global garments industry, low. Feature, technology use, U.S. garment industry, apparel garment industry. That's redundant. High. AR, AI, 3D design, global garments industry, medium to low. Feature, sustainability standards, U.S. strong, global varies by region. Feature, lead times, short 2 to 4 weeks, global 6 to 12 weeks. Feature, supply chain flexibility, U.S. high, global low to medium. In summary, the U.S. garment apparel industry is evolving fast to match consumer expectations and business needs. While global production still dominates in volume, the U.S. is catching up in value, efficiency, and innovation. The shift towards local sourcing, ethical labor, and fashion technology makes the U.S. stand out in 2025. So then below that is some more text. It's Makers Row promoting themselves. And they promote themselves by saying I'll read it. In 2025, finding trustworthy and ethical manufacturers is one of the largest issues in the apparel garment industry. That's where Makers Row comes in. So they claim to have 10,000 vetted U.S.-based manufacturers. Whether you're a small company designing your first collection or a large brand making a switch to local production, Makers Row assists you in locating collaborators for design, prototyping, pattern making, full-size production. So they have Start Your Factory free trial. They have a trial for their services, whatever that may be. I don't know because I have my JavaScript on and so I can only see certain things. But I had been talking in a lot of my other videos. I keep hammering this, reshoring, nearshoring, small runs, and I go over and over and over again. That's why I'm doing this, because I want to produce my clothes here. I'm producing my clothes here. You can watch me make these clothes for however long you can stand to sit and watch me. I try to make the videos less than a half an hour, most definitely. Because it's just me sewing and I'm doing voiceovers, because in the background either the TV is playing or I have my laptop open and I'm playing music, and I don't want to get copyright strikes for TV or for Rihanna's XYZ. So yeah, I do my voiceovers, and I figured you guys would want to know some of this, this stuff. And when I say this stuff, that right there, I'm putting thread on the bobbin. I don't know why I did that. But I have been talking about this reshoring and nearshoring for the longest time. McKinsey & Co. wrote about this stuff back in 2023. You can find their reports, the state of fashion, and if you put in 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, they're on the net. They're free. They are a big data analytics company, but those reports are basically free, and you can usually download them right from the site. And they talk about companies, U.S. companies doing small runs and stuff like that. So this article, and I'm not putting the article down or the writer, I'm saying that this stuff is 2 years old, even though the article was written in May. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that there are people who have already been doing this, making their small runs like myself. And it isn't because we're trying to capitalize on taking work from foreign manufacturers / contractors. We just wanted to do our own thing And it just so happens that one of the ways to get business, in my opinion, would be to show you guys what I'm doing to prove that I'm making it here, as opposed to some of the other shenanigans you have heard of, where companies have it made in one company and they ship it over to another company, like when China did that thing to the U.S. where, well, actually not to the U.S., but to Italy, where they have a bunch of their purses or dresses made in China, and then they ship it to Italy, and they have a label sewn on, and then it says made in Italy, because they did what they call a major construction process in country, and so that made it eligible for the made in Italy tag. Well, as you can see, I'm making the garment right there on screen. So if that makes any sense, you know, I'm making these myself. I'm not shipping out. And again, I don't want to produce 100,000 pieces of this or that. I saw a video recently, and I rewatched it actually, and they were saying that some of these companies have 1,500 different lines they produce a year. 1,500. I think it was like the Gap and J. Crew, something like that. 1,500, and that's just it was in the thousands, where they have 1,500 different lines they produce a year. And it was a critique of Shein. Shein has 1.5 million lines per year. I mean, they dwarf, you know, the Gaps, the J. Crews, you know. So if you were looking for a line that was produced in country, and like the article says, my stuff is going to cost a little bit more, you know. I did some research last night, and I saw a company, I'm not going to mention their name, but they had dresses, bodycon dresses, for $6, and it wasn't Shein, it wasn't Temu. $6. Then I saw another company, they had bodycon dresses that were as much as $1,800. My dresses are running around $99, and I had those videos, and I can still use them. I'm just deciding on whether I want to chop them up, because I can get a copyright and or trademark infringement claim, and I don't want that. But I went to the site, and I scrolled, you know, down their page, and I just used my screen capture. And the reason I did that was to show, not to use their content, but to justify my pricing. My work is not perfect, but you can see right here, and you can see in some of my other videos that are already up, my sewing is halfway decent. I'm not making $6 dresses, and I'm not yet at that $1,800 mark, but I am around the $100 mark. And in some of the videos that I downloaded yesterday, I'm saying for myself, I think my dresses are worth it. Of course, there are dresses for $24. There are dresses for $100. There are dresses for $600. But again, some of these companies are getting their stuff from China, Bangladesh, India. So again, yeah, I want to be able to sell. I want to get to that point where I can charge $300 and $400. Right now, I think I'm at the $100 range, to be perfectly honest. I'm even showing you my mistakes and stuff. You see, I'm not trying to hide anything, and you will see me do this and correct my mistakes. So, if you guys think, you know, I don't know. I mean, because you can see me make it, so it's not like I'm wasting fabric and I'm underpaying somebody. I'm making these garments. I'm making the mistakes, and I'm cleaning up the mistakes. And so you can buy these on my my Shopify account. And if that doesn't work, I'm also just going to see if I can sell them right through YouTube and not even have a website. I'm not saying I do have the Shopify account and it's open right now. It's up for business. I only made 3 of these. But what I don't want to do is have a bunch of obstacles like this article was saying, you know, time delays and all that stuff. I want to avoid all that and just do a deal. You know, you guys like my goods. I got it to sell. You can get it. And if you like it, you can come back, tell your friends, tell your family. You don't have to worry about someone telling you that this was made in a sweatshop in India or Bangladesh. You don't have to think about a building collapsing, killing 235 people or whatever. You watch me sit here and toil and sweat on it and get a laugh out of me, you know, doing what I'm doing. So anyway, if you guys like this, please give me a like, comment, subscribe, share. I would appreciate it. I'm coming to the end here. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.